warm welcome to each one of you. As we all understand that whether it's a corporate or an NGO, both correspond to some or the other sustainable development goals. So today we are here to understand and to equip ourselves how to plan, monitor, and evaluate our work towards SDGs. Let me quickly introduce you to all the panelists. I'll start with Dr. Manju, a development professional with 2.5 decades of experience and goodwill in the development sector in Asia, Africa, and Middle East. She has organized various capacity buildings in planning, monitoring, and evaluations and training, established rigorous monitoring and evaluation systems and processes at institutional levels, conducted grant monitoring and evaluations. A warm welcome to you, Dr. Manchu. We have our next panelist, Mr. Nixon Joseph, President and COO of SBI Foundation, marathon runner, and a COVID warrior. Warm welcome to you, sir. We also have with us Mr. Vinod Pandey, CSR advisor to a corporate PFS. Warm welcome to you, sir. Our next panelist is Mr. Pradeep Singh Pundi, founder of an NGO, Spectra. Warm welcome to you, Pradeep ji. So this brings us closer to the topic of today's discussion. How do we plan, monitor, and evaluate our work towards SDGs? Vinod Pandey, sir, can you share with us, how do you plan, monitor, and evaluate your CSR initiatives in your organization?
Planning generally in a corporate is done by the board meaning the CSR committee. Of course, they have a CSR policy, but the CSR committee decides on which are the sectors to work, which are the areas where they would like to use their funds, and what is the amount of funds they will use for a particular project. Because suppose their focus is on environment, they would not like to spend 10 crores on one project. They might decide that, okay, each project should not be more than a crore or a crore 50 lakh and things like that. That is the planning part. As far as monitoring and evaluation is concerned, once a project is approved, meaning the planning is there in place, it is handed over to the CSR department and then they do the implementation part. As far as my corporate is concerned, once a project is approved, we hand it over to a foundation, which is a subsidiary of our company, which is true with many corporations, including State Bank. Mr. Nixon might be knowing that the corporate decides on the project, hands it over to the trust or the foundation, and they are the ones to implement. So in case they are implementing, then they are also monitoring and they are also evaluating. The two things are being done by them. Even though we are the ones who have given the funds, we do take part in the monitoring part as well. Now that the CSR Act in India is over 6 years old, the expectation of donors for more accountability, transparency, and proof of effectiveness of the projects has also increased substantially. Because initially we give it to the NGO, we trust the NGO, we know that they'll monitor it well, and we know that the impact will be there. But impact assessment did not have a focus. Now, as far as my corporate is concerned, some of the major CSR projects that we have done. One is, of course, mobile health clinics we are running across Delhi. They are geotagged. So I can sit at home and find out where the mobile health clinic is stationed right now. So monitoring can be done by anyone who is in the CSR department. Another project we had done, which was very important, was CRM, the crop residue management. That was in Punjab, where you have that event of stubble burning during September, October, spreading pollution all over. What we did is we funded some happy seeder machinery, which instead of burning the stubble, they cut the stubble, mulch it, and put it back in the ground. So we see whether these equipments are being used or not. But I think monitoring and evaluation is required now. Most corporates need it.
Thanks a lot for sharing with us how your organization is doing planning, monitoring, and evaluation. You rightly say The expectation of donors for more accountability, transparency, and proof of effectiveness has substantially increased. My next question to Mr. Nixon Joseph. So can you share with us some of the challenges you have experienced in measuring the impact of your organization?
Thank you, Seema, for that interesting question. Like impact assessment has gained like a lot of focus these days after the CSR rules were amended in January 21, where it was mentioned that impact assessment has to be done in case of projects above 1 crore and where CSR liability is above 10 crores. Therefore, many of the big corporates who are having foundations or doing CSR activities will have to compulsorily go for impact assessment of the projects. The cap of 50 lakhs, which has been stipulated by the CSR rules, will be a dampener. So we won't be able to conduct more than 2 studies per year if we are sticking to that 50 lakhs cap. That would be a challenge which we will have to face the days to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing some of the challenges you have experienced in measuring the impact of your organization. My next question to Dr. Manju. Can you share with us some of the skills you built during your training, both for NGOs and the corporates?
Thank you, Seema, for the question. Yes, indeed, it's been a pleasure to be able to work with NGOs and CSR institutions and government bodies on building their capacities on planning, monitoring, and evaluation. Under ideal circumstances, the training needs to be taken up at the time of planning or maybe even before planning, because a lot of people who are responsible for planning are not familiar with the planning methodologies or tools. So there is a decision that is triggered by emotion or maybe a connect. Let's say it's an industry which is causing a lot of pollution, so they may want to help solve that issue, and therefore their focus becomes environment. We need to understand the entire ecosystem of how one thing affects the other. For example, I know an organization that is providing solar power to villages. So they're working through CSR funds, so I can completely relate to what Mr. Nixon and Vinodji were saying. So what is done is that the project proposal only talks about so many plants will be set up. And what they think is impact is actually just completion of activity. The impact begins after that, after you have set up the solar system in the village. How do people use that solar power? Let's say if it's been provided at a hospital where the delivery was happening and there'd be a power cut, so then you would end up using kerosene lamps, or you'd end up somehow harming the patient or not being able to provide the kind of care that you need to provide to the patient. So that morbidity that has been prevented because of the lighting solution that you have provided is the impact. So if you've provided lighting solution in a school, the fact that now school can also organize evening class where additional students can be accommodated, that is the impact. So most of us, because at the time of planning, we haven't really put in too much of a thought. We don't even put it through as a log frame or a results-based framework. So when you don't do that, you don't measure it. You not only miss the monitoring part of it, you also miss the evaluation of it as an impact. The proposal itself or the planning process itself needs to focus on what will be the outcome of these activities, and therefore in the long term, what impact will be able to see. So there is a dearth of skills, capacities, as well as knowledge about how the sector must operate. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dr. Manju, for concisely sharing your thoughts on planning, monitoring, and evaluation. You rightly said that at the time of planning, we do not put too much of thought, and in the process, we not only miss the monitoring, but also the evaluation. I second your opinion that there is a dearth of skill, capacity, and the knowledge. The Bridge India in the past have tried to address the need by organizing different training programs, and we will continue to do it. I sincerely thank all the panelists for sharing their valuable time and insight, which will certainly help us to bridge the gap. Thank you so much once again.